I was finally doing something productive with my life, which was watching anime and playing video games, when my wife calls me from downstairs because the internet went down. And I'm getting these flashbacks in my head with Klaus Schwab, my mentor. And Klaus Schwab is a person from the World Economic Forum, which likes to take any human misery and turn it into an opportunity. Like, for example, with the pandemic recently, you hear Klaus Schwab going, "This is a great opportunity for us to rethink and reimagine society." And I'm like, oh, the internet went down. Did it? Oh, this is a great opportunity for you to start cleaning the house. Apparently, it didn't work like that. She started nagging. It's my problem that the internet went down, and I need to fix it. So I take a look at it. Turns out the internet didn't go down. It was just Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp that stopped working. And this blew my mind a little bit because there are people who either consider that it's more likely that the entire internet would go down before Facebook would go offline, or that there are people who consider that Facebook and Instagram are quote-unquote the internet. You know, I used to grow up with the internet, and back when I was a little kid, websites would go down constantly, and only if a website would go down for a week at least, people started to worry. But now if Facebook goes down for even a minute, people start freaking out and they think the entire internet is down. So anyway, turns out that Zuckerberg lost a couple of $1 billion with this stunt. People are making jokes saying that the hackers are going to ask for ransom, and if the ransom is not being paid, then they're going to allow Facebook to come back online. But what's more interesting is that people are now pushing a conspiracy theory. And I love the word conspiracy theory, which literally translates to either speculation, like people are speculating that, or baseless accusation. People are accusing without concrete evidence. That's what conspiracy theory means nowadays. But anyway, right, so people are saying that maybe it's due to the whistleblower. There was a whistleblower on Facebook, and I immediately started Googling to see what happened. What exactly was Facebook doing? And look at this on CNN. The whistleblower says the company prioritized profit over the public good. Oh my God, can you believe this? Facebook, a for-profit entity, was prioritizing profit. Unreal, isn't it? I mean, it's absolutely shocking. In a capitalist society, Facebook is prioritizing profit. Get the fuck out of here. I couldn't believe it. But then apparently, literally the next day, she goes on the Senate and she says this.
Good afternoon, Chairman Blumenthal, Ranking Member Blackburn, and members of the subcommittee. Thank you for the opportunity to appear before you. My name is Frances Haugen. I used to work at Facebook. I joined Facebook because I think Facebook has the potential to bring out the best in us. But I'm here today because I believe Facebook's products harm children, stoke division, and weaken our democracy. The company's leadership knows how to make Facebook and Instagram safer, but won't make the necessary changes because they have put their astronomical profits before people. Congressional action is needed. They won't solve this crisis without your help.
Hi, I'm here from the government and I'm here to help. Man, it's so interesting. So, when the private company can do whatever it wants and start censoring, that's fine. You know, we can't intervene. We don't want the government intervening. And I remember I was saying, like 5 years ago, right? Like, now you have a right-wing government. If it's intervening now, it's going to be better when the left finally gets to intervene. Oh, look what seems to be happening. Yes, the left seems to intervene. ANCAP's BTFO'd. Who would have thought? Oh my God. Really, you're telling me that the ANCAPs don't have the political power in order to stop this from happening? Because I remember they were very concerned when people like me were saying, you know, like maybe Facebook needs to be regulated. Like maybe, you know, free speech is important. Yeah, turns out that free speech isn't important. Like, in fact, censorship is important. Like, they are demanding more censorship to keep democracy safe, right? So you have this lady going on 60 Minutes, which is a for-profit entity, by the way, the mainstream media, I mean. CNN is for-profit. They're all making money. They're all spewing division. They're all spewing hatred. They're all spewing all of these things in order to get ratings and scare people. And they don't like that their competitor does the same. So they're going to use their power in order to crack down on their competitor. That's literally what it is about. Trying to scare the advertisers away from their competitors. That's what's happening. So what is the whistle blown? Like, what exactly did it happen? Well, apparently, before the election, Facebook had this Civic Integrity Committee. And because they took down the Civic Integrity Committee, the insurrection took place. The Capitol. Okay? So, in other words, private companies are now obligated to make sure that they listen to what people speak. So, Facebook has to censor people. I suppose restaurants also require a microphone on every table to hear the conversations at the table. Car manufacturers, maybe they should also put a microphone in every car to make sure that the driver doesn't say anything outside of Volvo's terms of service, right? This is how you need to build a society in order to protect democracy. Here's something that people probably did not know, and you probably will not know. In the 1980s, a far-left female-led domestic terrorist group bombed the US Capitol. So this happened, right? Now take into account that when this happened, these people probably used the telephone. These people probably used cars. These people probably used the postal office to communicate with one another. Did you see the Senate being concerned and say, hey, we now need to start reading every single person's mail, go through their mail just to see if they're not planning something. We need to wiretap every single telephone. No, they didn't do that in the United States, did they? Unless they had a judicial order. No, that's what they did in the Soviet Union. That's what they did in Nazi Germany. That's why the American system was better and it was considered the land of the free. Because despite all of this shit, you still had freedom. You didn't have like people concerning about, oh my God, we can't let people just talk. We can't let people express themselves. By the way, fun fact, not tied to this story, but again, Susan Rosenberg was the one that planted the bomb at the US Capitol. And now, years later, people found out that she is sitting on a board of a BLM funding body. So Snopes writes a fact check and says that, well, it's not really true because there is no universally agreed definition of terrorism. Right? And just for the rules, just so you can understand a little bit of what's going on. You know, like no same standards. Not everyone gets to play by the same rules, I suppose. But anyway, right, so going back to Facebook. They need more censorship. What I really love about this is the manufacturing of consent. Because this isn't grassroots, right? I mean, you don't get to have a forum to express whether or not you're concerned by this. You're never going to be questioned whether or not you agree with this. The American public isn't asked, hey, do you think Facebook should be censored more or less? Do you think you need more censorship in your life? No one cares what you think. The conversation is happening with people more important than you. No one is asking you. People are telling you what's going to happen from now on. And honestly, I really like the whistleblower. She's like, oh, well, these for-profit corporations, they're divisive. And she uses the term insurrection as if that is not divisive. Like, from what I know, legally speaking, none of the people convicted have been charged with insurrection yet. Like, please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm willing to see that in the comment section. Novi, you're wrong. There are plenty right-wing politicians and right-wingers who say, yes, it was a riot, but it wasn't an insurrection. The president himself didn't get impeached. So the only people saying insurrection are political affiliates and the mainstream media. And not all the mainstream media, by the way, just some channels. So again, like, how is this not divisive? Oh, yes, Facebook is divisive. And yet here she goes on 60 Minutes being divisive. And she's like, oh, yes, well, Facebook is trying to scare people. As if you don't have, like, the CNN death counter with COVID. It's like, oh, look, the counter is going up, up, up. Deshi, deshi, basara, basara. It's like, how is that not something that they're doing to make ratings? How is that not prioritizing profit over the public good? I actually know people who last year had a heart condition and were afraid to go to the hospital because what they were seeing on the news, it's like, look how much disease, how much illness, how many patients, oh, the hospitals are now, don't go. A person that I know, who was a university professor at medicine, by the way, died of a heart attack because they didn't want to go, right? No one is blaming the press for that. No one is blaming the press for scaring people in the opposite direction. But no, we need to blame social media. And by the way, you know, I hate defending Facebook. Because I know, like, what happened on Facebook. Facebook managed to get away with it. But Parler apparently got shut down. So I get it. You know, like, I'm not saying that Facebook is in the right here. But what I'm saying is that this is yet another example where a conversation is taking place without the average people being consulted, without even caring what the average people think. And the idea that the only way to save democracy is by having authoritarianism. Like the idea that democracy can only exist if people are censored, and it can only exist if we make absolutely sure that people say the correct things online is ludicrous. If she were to replace Facebook with CNN, people would accuse her of attacking journalists and being against the freedom of the press, which, by the way, seems to be the only human right right now which seems to matter. So I'll be making a live stream after this, talking about what she said in the Senate committee. We can have a little bit of introspection there if you follow me on the live stream channel. And hopefully I'll be seeing you guys there. Take care.